Okay, you're on.
Got it.
All right. Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to the Empowering Women series. My name is Pia McAdams. I'm an author. I'm also an accounting professor and a certified life coach. I specialize in personal and small business finance and fitness, and I help people reach their goals. And this Empowering Women series is the purpose of the series is for us to have a platform where there's no judgment and it's freedom to share your stories, your experiences, your failures, your successes, and just have a platform where you can just actually just get it out and not be judged. And I was just speaking with Ellie, which is our guest today, and I was sharing with her that the purpose of this is really underlying is based upon healing, because we all go through the things that we go through in life, you know, our journey, our life's journey, all the things that happen to us. It happens to us for a reason. And a lot of times the reason may not be apparent to us while we're going through it, but it's afterwards, in hindsight, if you actually take the time to reflect and look back upon it, and then you can actually see what the reason was. And once you figure that out, then the next step is to share it with others so that they can also, it can help them in their journey as well. So that's the underlying reason for this empowering series. So I'm so very excited today to be talking with Ellie Parvin. Ellie and I met, oh my gosh, it's been years ago. It's been at least 10 years ago. I met her. She was working with Shalene Johnson in the famous Powder Blue Productions. It was like a family. It was a really great environment. Not just for them for working, but even just being being a part of that experience. And so I was just sharing with Ellie, like, to me, she was the face of Powder Blue, because when you called their office, you would talk with Ellie, and just her beautiful smile, her bright personality. I mean, it was very, overwhelming and empowering and endearing. And she really was the face, and to me, for Powder Blue Productions. And since then, Ellie's grown. Like she shared in her post that we both are professors. I know that she's actually she teaches speaking at several colleges, and obviously I teach accounting. And so we have a lot that has gone on that parallels our life. And I'm so excited to be to introduce to you Ellie Parvin, where she can actually share with you her story on being forever single, or so she thought. All right. So without further ado, let me go ahead and put Ellie on for you. Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Pia. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you. And I just want to thank you again for inviting me to be part of your Empowering Women's group and just share my story. It's such an honor.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. And I can't wait to hear your story, because this is a story I have not even heard myself. So
this is true. I have not shared this story publicly before, and it's strange. As you did mention, I am a public speaking coach, and I'm also a professor. I have my master's in communication, and I'm actually a little nervous.
That's though, right? Because nervous is letting you know that's the energy building up inside of you for something good that's going to happen.
Yes, yes. Nervous means that you're doing something challenging, and you're going to grow from it. So,
oh, I love it. Love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Well, what I definitely wanted to do is just by starting. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Pia. Yes, I am a communication expert, and I should also mention that I did my thesis in gender communications within small organizations, and with that, I needed to do a lot of studying on how the behavior and communications happens in genders individually and also together. I wish I had had that in my young 20s. I wish I had that. But we don't start out that way, right? We don't start out knowing how a relationship works. There is no elementary school class or high school class that offers us training on how to have a good relationship with your friends, your family, and significant other. Is there?
Not that I know of. I mean, other than, if you know, the unofficial classroom is your family environment, because you grow up in a family, but then again, that might be dysfunctional. So,
That is so true. That is so true. And the one thing I would want to, I really want to ask, because yes, I'm sharing my story, but for me, this is about your viewers. And whether you are catching this live, if you are, I'm so happy that you're here joining us today. But if you are catching the rebroadcast, I will definitely come back in and look over some of your comments as well. I want you to know that. But I'd like to start by asking some questions, if you don't mind.
Please do. Go ahead.
So here's what I want to ask is, for the audience, and even for you, Pia,
Okay.
have you ever been in a long relationship?
I have.
I know you have. And maybe some people will comment below if they have as well. Just comment below yes or no. If you're my age, most likely you probably have. And the next question is have you ever been in love? Because I've actually met people that they have told me they've never been in love.
So
Or
the first answer to the first question was yes, they've been in a long-term relationship, but they weren't in love?
yes,
Oh,
because people go into relationships for different reasons.
that's true. That's true.
And it's not always because of love. And so these things are very important to ask yourself. If you want to plan to be married or in a relationship, even if you don't want to get married, if you want to be in a relationship with one person for a certain period of time, it's very important to ask yourself these questions, because going in, I was single for a reason, and I was single for quite a few years. I dated one or two people here and there, maybe one night out to dinner, maybe dated them for a week or a month, and I never called them my boyfriend. It didn't get past kissing. And because I just couldn't, I don't know, in my head, they weren't good enough, or I kept just telling myself, I'm single, I want to be single, I enjoy spending time with my friends. And my deciding factor is if I'm on a date with someone and I'm sitting there thinking, I'd rather be with my friends right now or by myself, then this isn't the right guy.
No, not at all.
I mean, and that's that worked for me for a while. I'm sure it kept some undesirables away, but to be honest, I think it may have also potentially kept away people that probably were great people and would have been great partners for life, but it wasn't them, it was me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's of course until he came along, the one who is now my husband. But to even get to that point, we have to look back, like, why did I decide to be single? And I was happy. My friends were in relationships, getting married, living with their boyfriend. And I actually was one of those friends that I love love. I love love. I've always loved love.
Yeah.
And I supported my friends for their relationship. I never begrudged them if they wanted to spend time with their boyfriends or husbands. I actually supported that because I always felt it was important. And if I look back far enough, I was a serial monogamist. I had long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I had, the high school long-term relationship. We all have that. Mm-hmm. And I stayed in that too long. Hot guy, though. He was really good looking. But, I was 16 when I met him. I was in love because at that age, there are not a lot of things to think about.
Right, right.
Except that this guy make my heart pitter patter. It's easy. It's simple. And when life is simple, love can be simple.
Right.
Of course, I stayed with him and we're two completely different people. We stayed together maybe 2.5, 3 years, which is a long time, I think, for high school. But we did not go to the same high school. He was someone from the same county, but not the same high school. And, when that relationship ended, I looked back and what I had realized was that I was blinded by love, my feeling of love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was blinded. I don't want to say there was anything wrong with him, but we were two completely different people. And I was clueless, blind to the fact that there was infidelity in the relationship. I had no idea until maybe a year later. And that's just how blinded by love I was. And I just thought, really?
But you can expect that, right? At 16, what do you know?
Right, but at 16, you don't expect it.
No.
And it affects you. So what did I do? I moved on, focused on school, work, my friends, a little bit of dating here and there. I had one boyfriend for about a year. That ended because he went away to a different college, and we ended amicably together. The first boyfriend, I broke up with him because he gave me an ultimatum. And the second boyfriend, it was amicable, and it wasn't as heartbreaking. It was a little heartbreaking. The first one was a little heartbreaking, but I was kind of, I'm one of those people that you give me an ultimatum, that's so easy for me, you're gone.
Right.
You are gone. And his ultimatum was move in with me or marry me. And I was 19. And that just was not my, I said, no, I said, but no, we can do this. If he hadn't given me that ultimatum, I might have stayed with him longer. And I wouldn't have met the other nice gentleman that I dated for a year. And then that ended, and I grew a lot in that relationship. He was intelligent, on the same education path as me. His parents, like my parents, were divorced.
Okay.
And good friends with each other, talked to each other. So, we had some things in common. He actually bought me my first student Bible. And I grew up without religion. My parents wanted us to believe in God and choose our own way. Very simple, be spiritual. Don't believe that you're the most important thing on this planet, that there must be something else out there that's greater. Okay. So I was very interested in taking study of religions classes, and he introduced me to the student Bible. So I started doing all this work, and I had this Christian workbook, and I realized that he was in my life to really introduce me deeper into faith and understanding that actually faith can help you grow and spirituality can help you grow and give you those answers to questions you couldn't find, just out there. And because, as we start to grow up, I've always been a self-help kind of person, even at such a young age. My mom was a psychologist, so I grew up reading these psychology books that were all over the house. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm like this. Oh yeah, that's me. And so I was really, and she did Gestalt therapy with me in the bathtub when I was a baby. So I think I was just, naturally moved to be this sort of self-help type person. And I've always been introspective and trying to figure out, oh, why did I do this? So that's always been me. So when that relationship ended, I'm like, okay, you know what? That's okay because it hurts, but he was such a nice guy. And look what I got out of it. I learned something incredibly new. And he also helped me with math. And here's the good thing. Here's the good thing about all of you that have had relationships, long relationships, and it's ended and things have broken up and you're broken, is that that's actually a good thing. Research has shown that breakups are actually what make you stronger in life. It does two things. One, it helps you realize that, you learn about how you react with other people that you're close to, how you express with that person, how maybe you would have done things differently and you plan to do them differently in the future. And it does another thing. When your heart is broken and you're in that little place of just sadness and, what was once blue skies and sunshine feels like darkness with no moon and no trees or no butterflies or flowers or birds, you actually realized that that's temporary because you overcome it. And then you kind of get a little braver to do other things. You grow your strength. Mm-hmm. Am I right, Pia? Does ending a relationship for you, don't you arise from that more powerful and stronger and wiser?
I do, and I think what's important to note is this. It may not be during the time that you're going through it, because obviously, you're probably in your sorrow, but it's more so, again, knowing the flow, the ebbs and flow of life, right? There's always going to be ups and downs. So once you've gone through it a little bit, it's very important. I'm glad you mentioned this. It's very important to go introspective, because if you don't, that's where the growing happens. When you analyze what's going on with the situation, analyze yourself, and like you were saying, how you react with other people. That's how the growth occurs. It's not just that you went through it, but then you analyze and you learn from it.
Right. That's so true. And, I was growing, and I know how here it is. about a year after that breakup, I was single during that time, focusing on school, working, and I transferred out to college to San Francisco State.
Okay.
And honestly, I went to San Francisco not because I wanted to really get away from my parents or my family. It's kind of because I was very dependent on them. I could call my mom and talk to her about any of my boyfriend problems or any emotional problems I had. And, I had this realization one day that my parents may not always be around. Mm-hmm. And it scared me. And I said, you know what? I need to be able to be on my own. I need to figure out if I can survive on my own and be okay. I'm an emotional person. I'm a sensitive person. Can I handle the real world on my own? So I went away to college and I decided I am not going to date at all while I'm up here. I'm just going to be single and enjoy life and focus on school and have a job and write for the school paper and be in a sorority and just have women friends and do cool things and fun things. And it's San Francisco, for goodness sakes. So much to do. And I did good. I did good for a little while. I met a guy. I think we were the two oldest people living in the dorms, and we dated for about a month. It didn't work out, but I wasn't heartbroken because I broke up with him because very quickly I knew that we were different. But he was hot. I'm just saying. If you're starting to see the trend of guys I date, when you're younger, the guy has to be hot. Why is that? Oh my gosh, a hot guy likes me. This is honestly my thinking. They have to be nice, and they have to be hot. I mean, honestly, this is what, and sweet, but hot. I don't know why I focused on that so much. That's just youth, right? Those are your 21-year-oldness and ignorant. I shouldn't say ignorance, innocence.
There you go.
Hot does not mean awesome.
No, not always.
Not always.
Right.
So after that, I decided, okay, I'm still going to be single. I'm focusing. One night I'm out dancing. I'm now 21 and a half. And a guy that's a part of our group of friends sees me. He was good looking, not totally my type, but good looking, very sweet, very attentive. And I won't go into too much detail, but I did have a boyfriend for the rest of my college career after that. Oh, well, I was away from home, and it's nice to have somebody who cares for you and is there for you, and you can depend on them and do things with. And it just, I don't know, it was fun. And he knew all my friends because, all of his buddies knew my friends. It just worked. And it was a wonderful relationship. And he was a great boyfriend for college. And I should have ended it when I graduated. In hindsight.
Right.
Nothing wrong. Like I said, it was not him. It was me. And what happens is when you're in a relationship for a long time, it's hard to end it because that person becomes a part of our daily routine. And it's hard to change our daily routine, right? What if somebody told you to stop brushing your teeth every day? Right. You would feel weird every morning you got up not brushing your teeth. It's that person was part of my daily routine. We didn't live together because I just was dead set against that, not for religious beliefs, but because once you move in, it's the next step to something else. And I was still focused on getting to that next level of my career but still having a relationship. And I wanted him to finish college. Because this is how I think forward, is that, okay, if we get married, I want our kids to know that both their mom and dad have college. They don't have to go to college, but both mom and dad do. So that will kind of, mom and dad do. Well, it's just a natural thing if that's for us. I don't want, because we don't, to be, do you know what I mean? It's kind of what you want somebody that's, they don't have to have a college degree. It's not about having a college degree. And I tell this to my students, you don't have to have a college degree to be successful, but you have to continue learning. And he just stopped learning. And it wasn't, and that was okay. You don't have to be a constant learner. But for me, as who I am, the parents I have, what I'm used to seeing in a man, my father, who has like 3 different master's degrees and works for NASA JPL and has a really good job and, you know, is just high work ethic. And my mom, who has her own business, and, you know, just, that's what I'm accustomed to seeing. It doesn't make him any less. But there was that thing in my mind that said, you know, he's a diamond in the rough. I see it. He's a diamond in the rough. And I know I can make this happen. I know I can make him be the best he can be. And I think I know I brought out the best in him when I was with him. And that's probably why he wanted to be with me. But, you know, shortly after college, I fell out of love because I was working too many jobs and trying to do too much and trying to rediscover myself out of college. And, you know, the relationship just kind of fell into the side for me. I wasn't working on it, and I was working on myself, but he wasn't working on himself. And to me, that was something I wanted and needed. And I think I told him, but I don't feel it was direct. And then I had a conversation with my mom one day, and she wanted me to break up with him. And she's never told me to, she'd never gotten involved in my relationships that way ever.
Okay.
And as soon as she told me, you know, honey, you really should end that. He's not, you know, your caliber. And that made me so sad. And it's not her fault. Right. You're a mother. You love your daughter. You want to see them with someone that you know they deserve. And I grew up in a loving family. I was always told that I'm loved, that my mom would say I could be anything I want to be. They came and supported me at all my events. In fact, I'm going to take a sidestep here, going back to my parents. A few years back, I went to my 20-year high school reunion, and so many people came up to me and said, your parents were the poster children for divorced parents. They were so loving to each other. They came to all your games to support you and cheer, and they hugged each other and kissed each other and said, I love you. They always did that. They were at all my birthdays. My sweet 16th birthday, my dad and mom were there. Every holiday up until I was went away to college. Every Christmas, we spent a Christmas day together before we went out of town to ski. So it just, as a family, my mom, my dad, myself, my brother, and they were always good to each other. And the reason I sidestepped to that, I'll get to later in the future.
Okay.
So coming back to where I was with the boyfriend, having this conversation with my mom, she said, but honey, when you started dating him, you were away from home, away from your family, away from your comfort zone and the people you know, and you didn't choose him, he chose you. And it was that. He had picked me, he had kind of kept pursuing me in college, and I was very aloof, and, you know, I'm like, I don't know. And he just eventually won me over. But I thought about them like, yeah, I didn't pick him. But I was focused on he's not my caliber. And I went, no, he doesn't have to be from our background to be a good man. Anybody can make themselves, because that's what I truly believe. And I can bring the best out in him. And then, you know, after another year went by, and it just was, it was to the point where, honestly, one day I was sitting there in my apartment, and I was just praying. I'm like, God, I wish he would just cheat on me so I could leave him.
Wow.
That's sad. Why, if you know you want to leave somebody, why don't you just leave? What? I mean, I look back to that thought now, and I'm a little disappointed in myself, and waiting for him to cheat on me as an excuse to leave him, because now it's like, I'm going to leave you, because I couldn't get around leaving him, because I wanted to help him be the best he could be, and I'm not going to give up on him. I felt like I was already married, and I am not going to, if I am going to be in a long-term relationship, I am not getting a divorce. That's really how I've always felt. going into a relationship. And especially with this one, I had a promise ring, you know, even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to marry him if these things don't change. And guess what? That happened. It happened. He did. And guess what I did?
You left.
No.
Oh, you stayed. You stayed.
Now what's wrong with me? Now what's wrong with me? And I've never shared this before. I mean, not with any, and not anywhere live, just with a handful of close friends.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed. And you know what it does to you when you stay and you wanted to leave, and I was so focused on fixing and helping, and you know, he kind of started to just be very distant and be late all the time coming over, and it just was getting hard. It was hard because it was to the point where I you know, apologized, he cried, and I cried, and it was to the point where I would go to work and everybody would think I was the happiest person. And I was in my now 24 years old, about just turned 25 maybe. And I was looking at my life at 25. That was not where I thought it would be. I would go to work, be happy. I loved my job. I was a writer for a magazine. I had amazing colleagues. It was just cool. It was it was like a dream job. I didn't make very much, but it was so amazing. I was happy. I had a crappy apartment in Newport Beach that I had with a roommate, but I was close to the beach, and I was never home because I was either at the gym or at work or with my boyfriend, or when he showed up. And you know, you know what happened is he did it a second time.
So let me ask you this, Ellie. So why do you think you stayed? Is it because you manifest the situation, right? Because you really wanted him to cheat. And then when he did, were you beating yourself up over inside because you knew that you caused that? Or at the time, did you think you caused it? When I say think you caused it, I don't want people to assume that I'm saying you forced him to cheat. That's not what I'm saying at all. But spiritually, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Spiritually, yes, because I do believe in manifestation. Now, 5 years ago, I would have said, oh yeah, but now I realize, you know, putting that out there, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I wanted it to happen, but here's what happened. By the time it happened, I was already broken, and I was not strong enough to leave. And like I said, happy at work, come home and cry. And it wasn't until a work gathering. It was not a work function. It was my friends at work. They had a barbecue. I invited, you know, some of my friends and my brother, and of course the boyfriend. And it was down in Newport, and there was alcohol there, and everybody was drinking. And you know, it's just one of those, you know, you're 25 years old. It's Friday night after work, and everybody goes and has a barbecue. And I don't know what happened, but something. I don't know if I saw it for the first time, or maybe it was always there. And like I said, this is not him. It really isn't him. It's probably what happens between two people over a period of time when they're not truly sitting down and communicating and discussing their needs.
Right. And
then, you know, it'll come out when your needs are not met. Things will start to come out. And he was like this in college, but never this bad. We were inside taking a picture with all the coworkers, you know, just like you stand in a line, like everybody does. Everybody stands in a line and you take a picture.
Right.
And I see him outside. I'm like, hey, why don't you come in? My brother came in, and he's just sitting out there in the corner. And I went out there and I said, hey, is everything okay? What's wrong? And he grabbed my arm. And my brother had come out with me. I guess he was kind of off to the side. My younger brother, he's 4 years younger, had grabbed my arm and squeezed it so hard that the next day I had bruises. And he was angry. He was angry that, why is that guy touching you? And I said, we're taking a picture. I mean, he just went, it was really embarrassing. These are, my coworkers are here, our friends are here. It was this to me was like, whoa, is this an after school special? Where are the cameras? I had this outer body experience, and what made it worse was that my little brother, who I'm super protective over, is standing right there. I shouldn't say little, he's like 5'10", I'm 5 feet tall. He's my younger brother, and he just is kind of like thrown aback. It shocked him.
He grab you.
Because he saw him grab me and be angry at me, and you have to understand, that's not our father. My father has never laid a hand on anybody, on my mother, on us. Even if we got annoying, my father's the most patient, kind man in the world. It doesn't mean he didn't, punch a wall every once in a while, and when he was in his 20s. But something was just not right, and what I realized the next morning was that we were starting to bring out the worst in each other. And then that week, now that life started to spill over into my work. Everybody was coming up to me at work, my friends, and asking me, hey, what was that? It was embarrassing. And I'm like, okay, I cannot hide this anymore. This is done. I have to end it. And so as you asked before, I was broken. Pia, and those that are still watching after my long story, and by the time he was coming over one night, he was late. Sorry, I knocked my mic. He was late. And again, that's not a big deal. He was late. Not a big deal. We opened the door. He came in. We were supposed to spend the evening together. He sat on the couch, and I just talked to him, and I said, it's not you, it's me. I need a break. Let's take a break. And you can work on you. I need to work on myself, more importantly, because I'm not happy. I'm crying every day. And he said, well, I definitely don't want you to be crying every day. And he's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I understand. And then he just left, just like that.
Wow, okay.
And I'm like, what? Okay. What you have to understand is I didn't break up with him. After he left, I was on the floor in fetal position, bawling, holding the couch pillow. I felt crushed. He didn't care. He just didn't care. I just felt like, it's not that he didn't care. He just didn't know everything that had been going on inside my head for the last maybe 2 years after we graduated. And I was so broken. I didn't even have the strength to break up with him. But what I had decided, Pia, was that I would rather be alone for the rest of my life than be this unhappy every single day. And that is what gave me the push just to say, let's take a break.
Wow, okay.
It's like, I can't be sad this day every day anymore. I felt like it was just going to tear me up from the inside out. And, 2 or 3 weeks went by, and eventually he started calling, coming by, banging on the door. When is this break over? And I had the chain on the door, and, we'd spoken a time after this, and I apologized. But, I opened up the door, and I looked at him straight in the face, and I said, I don't love you anymore. I have nothing for you. And I closed the door, and then more banging, and my roommate said, I think your boyfriend's outside, Emily. He's not my boyfriend, it's over. Don't ever let him in. Okay. And, and like I said, he loved me. It's not that he didn't care about me. That's not it. There was nothing wrong with him particularly. It's just when you are with the wrong person for too long, and one of you, there's something broken with both of you, you start to hurt each other and bring out the worst in each other because you yourself are hurting. And what had happened to me was that just to get away from that is I had to go completely numb to him, cold. And I am not a cold person. I am the opposite of cold. Yes. I am so hot, I'm sweating right now. But that has nothing to do with the fact that it's almost 90 degrees outside. but it just, I had to go cold to it. But really, that's what it was. And I wondered, I didn't remember, who was that person before I met him? Who was that person? I wanted to go back to her. And slowly, over the next couple years, I worked on her. I started doing new things every day. I started a new habit. I learned how to surf. I'm like, I'm going to learn how to surf. I signed up for lessons on my birthday, and I learned how to surf before summer came, and just being in the water, learning to pedal. And by the way, before you even get in the water, you have to, they have you do all this stuff on the sand and on the board and the sand before you even hit the water. And I'm like, I just want to go on the water. No, we gotta start you out first here. And I kind of felt like learning how to longboarding, because I'm not shortboarder. Learning how to surf was sort of this metaphor for rebuilding my foundation, or getting back to my foundation.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, you start to come out from that pit or that rubble, from that brokenness, to rebuild yourself. You start to do new things that maybe your heart's broken, or this person that you care about, anybody you love is going to take a piece of your heart, and it has to be that way, or you just didn't love that person and it was a waste of a relationship. But anybody you care about and spend time with, they'll take a piece of you, and that's okay. But then you want to fill it with something else. Right. And start to strengthen that heart, so that muscle just gets nice and strong, so your self-esteem can rebuild and you can get back to who you are. And every time I got pounded or drilled into the sand from a whirling wave, or I ate it, or I fell off the board, I got back up and just paddled back.
Or you can get your balance, or yeah.
Yeah, just worked on my balance. Obviously, I worked out every single day. I've done turbo kick. For those of you that watch, Pia and I know each other through Powder Blue. I've been doing turbo kick since, well, not as long as some people, but since round 4.
Oh, so you're early. I'm round 6.
Okay, so then we're right around the same year.
Yeah.
So I started round 4, and it was so powerful to me, just being at the gym with all these people. And every time I was punching and kicking, I was punching my way back to a stronger self. And I found, fitness always was there for me. I've never been the kind of person that, I'm not gonna lie, I've never been the person that, I'm depressed and then I take out a pint of ice cream. I love ice cream. But I try to do things that make me feel better afterwards. So I'm like, okay, my way to get over this tough spot is I'm gonna do something that's not only immediate gratification now, but will be good for me afterwards by doing it. And so I just started that habit kind of around that time. Mm-hmm. And, things were very interesting. I was, like you said, just re-strengthening my friendships instead of spending Friday nights and Saturday nights with my boyfriend. I was spending it with my friends and going on trips with my friends. I didn't have to tell anybody where I was going. I didn't have to worry about anybody jealous. I could just live my life and be, and I found so much strength and freedom in that. And I was so happy. Like I said, I was so happy, and I felt empowered. I felt absolutely empowered. And then, what happened is I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. And yeah, I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. And I had a friend who later became my roommate. We actually had, it was a mutual friend, that he worked with my now husband. And he had told his friend that he'd just met, at work a few months back. He said, oh, you should meet my friend Ellie. She likes to snowboard and she likes Europe. Now, what some of your viewers may not know, my husband is from Switzerland, so he's from Europe.
Right.
And so we met. It took him, he was very shy. It took him probably about, I think, 2 hours to come talk to me at this barbecue that we were all at.
Now, when you first saw him, were you attracted to him? Like, was he, like, did you know, or?
No, I was not. I'm not going to say I wasn't attracted, and I know I did not know. Like I said, I met him, and here's the thing. I met him about 3 days before I was leaving for Ireland with my best girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
And when I met him, we had an interesting conversation. He says, I'm trying to get to the refrigerator to get a drink, and he kind of comes in. He finally gets there, and he goes, "Oh, perfect! I can go to the refrigerator and get a beer." And he's already there. Someone's trying to talk to me. I look to him, and he says, "Oh, do you need a drink?" And I said, "Oh, you have an accent. Where are you from?" That's what he said. And he said, "I'm from Switzerland." And my response, "Oh, that's the only country I really don't like in Europe." Which was true. I had a very bad experience my first time in Switzerland. I got robbed. So when I was 19. So I didn't have the best experience. And you should have seen his face, because he's never heard that before. He said, "What?"
Because everyone usually loves Switzerland because of the good things about it. Right.
Yeah, clean air, clean water, cheese, chocolate,
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Switzerland?
Right.
So he says, and I said, okay, and then I'm like, okay, he's kind of cute. And then I saw he has these dimples and a smile. He's so cute. He's smiling. I'm like, that guy's kind of cute. In my brain, I'm like, he's kind of cute. He's not my type, but he's kind of cute. Because he's not over 6 feet tall. He's tall. He's like 5'11", almost, 5'11", 5'10 and a half. But I always dated these like 6'1", 6'2", which I need to, right? Because I'm 5 feet tall.
Right.
I like brunettes. He's kind of got blonde hair. But I don't know. There was just something different. And by that point, I didn't have a type because I wasn't looking. And then I thought, oh, great, another one of these guys, too young. He's this young guy trying to talk to me. I don't want to date him when he's young, because they are not there, trust me. That's at least how I felt at that age.
When you say young, are you saying young your age or older or younger? Like younger than you?
Younger than me. I was 28. 28? Yeah, I think I was 28 at the time. And it was before my 29th birthday. So I was 28, and he basically... He was friends with a friend of mine who's about 3 or 4 years younger than me. So I assumed they're the same age or he's younger.
Okay.
And I'm not dating a 21 or 2 or 3. And I'm not dating a guy younger than 25. Right. I just didn't want to do that. And that's kind of how I had enough rules in place that would keep me single, because that's how I was protecting myself, right? Because remember, I didn't deal with the relationship. I just went cold and rebuilt.
Right.
So I moved forward. I didn't reflect back. And because that's the only way I could have gotten out of it at the time. And that's okay. That's what I needed. But I should have gone back at some point. And so going on, I said, "Oh, you're too young. I don't usually talk to guys your age." He said, "I bet I'm younger than you." So then we had a bet going. Okay, I know he's going to lose. And because people think I'm younger than I am because I don't wear makeup, right? And I'm 5 feet tall. So it turns out I won the bet. I was older.
Okay.
By 4 days.
No way.
He's a lot younger than he looks. It's the dimples. It's the dimples. So by 4 days. So we started laughing and chatting. And then, I wanted to spend time with my friends before we were, I was going out of town with my best friend. And he walks by several times. He smiles at me, walks by, smiles at me. And I was telling my girlfriend, he's cute, but he's not talking to me anymore. I'm not sure why. I think he's shy. So he's a little on the shy side, a little bit introverted. So he's not just going to approach an extremely extroverted girl who knows everybody at a party and when she's with all her friends and ask her for her number. It's awkward, right? Right. And I know this now because we've discussed it later. And then when he was leaving, he was walking out. I knew his friends that he was leaving with, and I'm like, oh, there goes the guy. I'm like, bye. I left for Ireland. And what happened was he ended up hanging out with those group of people in hopes of finding me. And they said, oh, she's out of the country, but she'll be back in a while. We're going to have a birthday party for all the people who have birthdays this month. At the end of the month, you should come. And it was at that party that I went, and I was actually going just to drop off a gift for a friend. And then I had to go because we'd just come back from Ireland, and I was starting a new job soon. And he was there, and we found ourselves in the kitchen at one point. And I realized who it was. I'm like, oh my God, that's the guy from that other place before we left on our trip. And we go in, he's like, it looks like you need another margarita. I said, I do. And he made me the margarita. I took a sip. I said, that's really good. Do you want to go to a wedding? I needed a date for a wedding in 2 weeks. And he didn't even hesitate. He said yes.
Wow.
And yeah, and before the end of the night, he said, so what are you doing for your actual birthday? And I said, well, I'm not doing anything because it's a Monday night, it's a work night. And he said, well, I'd like to take you to dinner for your birthday. And he did. And he took me to dinner for my birthday. And the next thing we know, and again, not love at first sight, something about his face, something about his smile, his face, his eyes, his just being, it pierced through this nice, good old, thick wall I had up to like keep people out. Right. And we ended up talking the whole night. The restaurant was closed, the wait staff was gone, the cleaning crew was gone, and the manager walks over and he said, I'll copy your bottle of wine, but I really need to get home for my family. And we looked around and you know, I enjoyed spending time with him more than my friends, the first date, and every time thereafter was the same. I still had a wall up. I still had the wall up a little, and it took me time. But after a while, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. And just so you know, every year on my birthday, we go to dinner at that same restaurant if we're in town or in the country.
And share what that picture is.
The picture. Oh, so the picture that Pia used for the actual promoting of this wonderful discussion is a picture my husband took of me on our anniversary. And every year we go have dinner at the location of our anniversary. Yeah, every year. Every year we go there, unless we're out of the country. We were in the rain in New Zealand one year having a bottle of wine and smoked fish one time, you know. But it was so romantic because it was New Zealand and gorgeous. But we go there every year just as a reminder and to celebrate and just remember that day, how special and unique it was to be there together and with our friends and the people that we love most. And he's just fantastic. But you know, the first 2 years were great because love is blind, right? You're all wrapped up in emotion and getting to know someone. And, you know, he was the first person that I dated that didn't say you spend too much time with your friends or you spend too much time at work or you have too many hobbies. He actually supported me having a life, and that parts of it, my life that he wasn't exactly part of, but I would share them with him so he felt he was part of it when I would talk about what I did, and he saw how it made me feel. And up until that point, it was the first man I met that wasn't jealous of other things that made me happy that weren't him.
Right.
And he loved his family and cared about his family. And I love my family and care about my family, and he cares about my family, and I care about his. These were all the things that were important to me now. It's not, oh my God, he's so hot. But the funny thing is I think he's hot. Other people may not think he's hot. I think he is so hot because I know him from the inside out. But right. It didn't happen right away. It didn't happen right away. The third year in, I tried to push him away. I caused problems. I got paranoid. Because that like hurriedness and that passion, let's face it, when you're passionate those first 2 years and you're together, it's discovery and everything is new. But after a couple of years, that sort of like, woohoo, like I have to be with you every second, starts to fade away. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And then there is this love and friendship that grows. And that is something I wanted. And I could see, okay, this guy's a nice man. He reminds me so much of my father. And like I said, my parents, they were kind to each other and good to each other. And there were several things I had to get over. One of the things that I realized was that if you really want to move on from the pain you've gone through in past breakups, even though you've built up your strength, you do have to go back and forgive. And I do not mean forgive the relationships you were in.
Right.
You have to forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
If you don't forgive yourself, you cannot move on. And forgiving others actually starts with forgiving yourself. One of the classes I took in graduate school was actually on servant leadership and forgiveness, and how leaders, unless they forgive themselves for their behaviors or their mistakes or how they've learned things or their processes, they cannot move forward to have relationships and build a community and lead people. And the truth of the matter is that I couldn't forgive myself for being in relationships too long, not leaving when I should, not seeing what I didn't see. I didn't trust something in myself.
Right, right.
I'd broken that trust with myself. And what I did was I tried to do things to our relationship with them and say, look, see, yeah, look what you did. You're going to leave now. You're going to leave me now. And that's that. And at one time, I kept telling him, I said, well, this is how it's going to be. It was almost towards the end of the third year. I said, you're just not hearing me. I'm trying to tell you how I feel. And I wasn't doing it very well, Pia. I wasn't the communicator I am now, and I'm still learning and growing. But he wasn't hearing me because it was the so I wrote him a letter when I got home. I said, I really valued our relationship. And then he read the letter and he said, why does it sound like we're breaking up? He drove over and he sat down next to me, and I was sad, and I said, I'm really going to miss us. I love you, and I love doing things with you because we play together, we snowboard together, we were doing half marathons together, we do life together, we play. Yeah. And he said, what? I don't get it. He said, it's just an impasse. He said, relationships don't work like that. If there's a problem in the relationship, you work through it and you become stronger from it. The relationships are like this. And this is a guy saying this to me. And I said, it's so weird. And he said, and then he started sharing some stories about his mom and dad. And I went, oh my God, that's right. He's married. His parents are still happily married. Love each other, adore each other, married for many years, like maybe 40 years about, maybe more, 4 kids. They still live in the same house. I mean, they're so loving. His mom still just kisses him and is sweet to him and dotes on him and vice versa. It's, when you look at people, you look at their families and how their parents treat each other. Right. And then I started to think, oh no, my parents are not together. He's not going to want to marry me. I'm broken. I'm broken because I'm from a broken family. And my parents, I don't know why it didn't work. I couldn't figure out why it didn't work. And I tried to talk to my mom, and my mom said to me one time, I said, Mom, I'm scared. I'm scared.
Let me ask you this. How old were you when they divorced, or were they divorced when you were born?
11.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I was 11. And and I was sitting on my couch with my mom, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I'm so afraid to think about a future with him now. Whereas I thought, okay, I want to, I'm considering it, but it's just so much safer to stay single. If I stay single, then he really can't hurt me if he screws up or something happens. And she said, well, what's wrong? I said, Mom, I don't want to invest all this time and be broken again and have to do that all over again. I care even more about him than I have anyone else. And I'm just afraid it's going to end. I don't want to get married because that might mean that there's an end. And I don't want to lose that independence. And my mom says to me, first of all, honey, you're always going to be independent. Second of all, you can't really be in a relationship if you don't let go a little. Mm-hmm. And you're always holding a person at arm's length away. And third of all, So what if he cheats on you and divorces you? Then what? And I looked at her and I went, I started crying. And I was like, I'd be heartbroken. I'd be devastated. And she said, and then what? I would just pick myself back up and work my way into being fine again. She said, yes, honey, you're strong. You've done this before. She said, you are my daughter, and you don't really have anything to worry about. That's just life. And that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. And she's just, and I'm like, holy God, once you accept the fact that that could happen, you know, that should be okay, you realize once you let the rest of that wall down and you see the actual person and you're in the relationship with that person, you realize that's not going to happen. Because that doesn't happen if you put in the work that my husband and I put in to our relationship. We work it. It's not always perfect. It's not always roses and sunshine. We are very different, Pia. Very different in many ways, very similar in many ways as well. But, you know, we have a different idea and different opinions. And we're both, like I said, we're 4 days apart. So we're very similar, very stubborn. And I just, you know, the power is that the power for me in moving forward was forgiving myself for being young and not knowing I could leave, forgiving myself. Because now I'm smart enough to do that. And even if I don't, it's my choice to stay and make it work. And I'm so much wiser now than that young girl. I'm a woman, I'm 44.
Right.
And, you know, then just loving yourself. You have to love yourself with all your flawsome, you know, amazing insides and out. You got to love every part of yourself, even the selves that sometimes you don't love so much. And then that was really powerful for me to be around is because, you know, something else happened that kind of made things like, oh, now I get it. You know, I looked back at my parents' relationship. Why did it work? They care about each other. They love each other. They're kind to each other. My father still supports my mother. My mom's never said a bad word about my dad, and vice versa. It's like, why didn't this relationship work? They're both good people. You know, and as a child, you grow up with it, you're like, I don't get it. So I'm with a good man now. It may not work. I found out when I was 33, before I got engaged, I found out that my parents, when they got married, they knew each other for 1 week.
Really?
They were arranged.
Okay.
That's something you want to know early on.
You think?
And then when I asked my dad, Mom, I said, no, Dad, you guys arranged?
You never. It was only at 33 when you found that out?
The year before we got engaged.
Wow. So did you ask the question? Like, how did you find out?
A friend of an aunt told me at a college buddy of my dad's college buddy's house one Thanksgiving. And this is so out of the blue. I'm sweating because it's hot, not because I'm nervous, people. It was so out of the blue. I was just in shock. Yeah, and it kind of, it's just, when I heard that, everything kind of started to drop into place. Now I get it. They didn't know each other. My mom was like 20 years old. She had never been on an unchaperoned date, comes to this country, knows, you know, has a college degree from Iran, has to come back here, get a whole bunch of different college degrees. There's different opportunity here for women. My dad supported her to do what she wanted. He, you know, and she felt like he was more of a father figure because he was 27 and, you know, my mom knew nothing else. She had no chance to be her own person. I get it now.
But as a little girl, you didn't know this. You just saw the breakup of your parents, and you're like, I don't want to go through that. And
yeah, I love the Disney movies. Happy Ever After.
Right.
I would get mad at my mom. Again, the psychologist. I would get mad at her at the end of, you know, Sleeping Beauty. She'd go, that's not realistic. You know, happily ever after, the carriage rides off, and everybody's like, my mom would say, that's not realistic. What is she going to do? Sleep? Is she not going to want to get a job? What is she going to do when the kids grow? And I just kept thinking, Mom, you're ruining the movie. It's a movie. It's happily ever after. I'm 12 years old. Let me love it. Or 10 years old or 9 years old. But, you know, she just kept psychoanalyzing every movie. But that's not realistic. So, of course, I analyze every movie I watch now. But
I do too. Seriously, I do.
You can't help it. You go, let me think. But, you know, it's one of these things that that opened up the world for me. And once that happened, I went, okay, so who around me? Then you have to, so you need to forgive yourself, one. You need to love yourself, two. You need to have relationships around you. Married couples, boyfriend, girlfriend couples that are healthy, happy for the most part, relationships.
Right.
Successful relationships, not perfect, but healthy and happy, and you like the way they manage their relationships. And it's like we say, you know, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, and how valuable that is to affecting you. Well, here I am now, you know, cut to being what, 31 maybe, 31, working at, maybe 31, working at the Powder Blue office. I have Brett and Shalene,
right.
An incredible married couple. My coworker, Lana Holt, and her husband, Andy Holt, and I love them. They're just such this beautiful, loving couple. They've been through, their marriage has been tested and challenged. He was in the military. He was gone for months on end. And they're so loving and considerate and cute with each other. And I just had other couples of that were loving to each other to draw from. And I'm like, that's how it should be. And I like that. And that's so great. And, you know, one night I was working late in the office to set up, you know, for an open house. Mm-hmm. And, you know, my husband was working late at work. And he said, hey, I'm still at work. Do you want me to come by and help you? I said, no, you're tired. Just go home. And I think it was like 11 o'clock at night. And he comes in and starts putting things on hangers to help me. And then Brett comes in. It's in the middle of the night. I think it's after football. He's coming into, this is when everything was done by hand, to charge some events that were coming up. And for our master trainers and contractors or consultants, who's ever watching this. And he said that, he said, oh, you remind me of me and Shalene. And when he said that, I went, we do? That kind of made me feel like, okay, this is going in the right direction. And, you know, challenging the relationship a little bit by going on vacations together when things are out of control, to see how the partner reacts, if they can stay calm. There's just lots of things you do to get to know someone. We dated for, well, we met when we were the first date was my 29th birthday. Mm-hmm. And we got engaged right before my 34th birthday, or our 34th birthday. So as you can see, we dated. We just had our 9-year anniversary, but we've been together 15 years.
Wow.
So we really took the time to get to know each other. And there's still surprises in a wonderful and not so great way sometimes. But, you know, all of the important things we know, like priority. Right. And value, the things we value and prioritize, and how to talk things out and work things out. And once, you know, and for me, writing has always been healing. I journaled a lot, and reading books, self-help books. Now you can listen to podcasts, watch Empowered Women's series. Sure. there's things we can do now that help heal us and learn. And like you said, you've been a self-aware learner for a long time yourself, Pia.
Absolutely. And I was important. I want to mention that as well too, because you mentioned all the outside sources, and that was one of the main things with my other series I was telling about, the Transform Your Life in 15 minutes. Is a lot of times when I gave a story on that show, and I won't go into it now, but a lot of times when we're looking for help, we go outside. But number one, go inside of yourself first, because everything that you need is provided for. So
So
there's the
true.
outside. When you get frustrated with the inside, because first off, we don't want to go inside. We want to look for the easy way out, so we don't want to go outside. But when you really want to dig in and find out why you're not married, or why you want to be single, or whatever it may be for you, go inside and do that introspective, and that's going to actually help you. And then you'll see a different. There'll be a different appearance or a different environment on the outside. Because it's all about the manifestation. It's where you are inside is what's being reflected on the outside. It's just that you don't choose to believe that at this point, depending on where you are.
So true, Pia. And one of the things that I kind of mentioned before is now I can easily go inside first, but back then I was so broken.
Right.
So go inside was broken, and it wasn't a safe place for me to go. So I started with the do new things to rebuild the inside, and I should have gone inside sooner. But you know, if something isn't working and you feel like you're strong and you're trying to, you know, work on a new project or build new relationships, as you mentioned, if it's not working, you do need to go back inside, because that inside is now strong, has been rebuilt, and you can go back in there and, you know, figure some things out and strengthen the areas that, you know, the rest of the rebuild didn't take care of.
Right. Exactly.
And you know, and again, like I mentioned before, there's one of the things that, like I said, when I was working at the office, when I was dating my boyfriend, now husband, I had asked my coworker, she recommended a book to me, and I started reading these books before I was even engaged. And one of them was this book, His Needs, Her Needs. So
Okay.
hopefully, I don't know if it will come in good, but it's His Needs, Her Needs. Oops. And it's How to Have an Affair-Proof Marriage. And I know that sounds really strange as a topic, but there's been over 1 million copies sold of this book.
And who's the author on that? Who's the author?
The author is Willard F. Harley Jr.
Okay.
And, you know, he said something in there that was so valuable to me. And I like to when I'm reading books, I do the little dog ears on the top. And I do a lot of folds and tabs. But he said this one thing, and I'm just going to read it because I don't want to mess it up. He said, often the failure of men and women to meet each other's emotional needs is simply due to the ignorance of each other's needs and not that selfish unwillingness to be considerate. And when I started reading these things early on, before he even proposed, the third year that we're having a difficult time, that I was preparing myself. I realized now I was preparing myself for a relationship with this man. I wanted him to know my needs and understand my needs, the important ones. And, you know, according to this book, we have, everyone's heard the 5 love languages, but
Right.
according to this book, each man and woman has 10 different needs. But only 5 each take the most precedence, and of those, 3 for each man and woman are more important. Now, the woman needs to know what are the most important to her, and needs to understand what are the most important to her husband. And for me, the longest time was the need to be right. And I always had to be right.
Yeah.
And so does he. And I realized early on is that we could get through almost any problem or discussion or argument or what have you, or bickering, if I just break the cycle, and I don't have to say I'm wrong. Yes, exactly. I just put my hand on his shoulder and say, honey, you know, I'm sorry, because I know what happens exactly when I'm trying to prove I'm right. My voice changes. It goes up high like this. Like this, and it does. This is not. And then they get so used to, they immediately, like, their brain turns off when you do that. So as soon as I break the cycle, he's just the second I apologize, he apologizes, even though he doesn't have to, or I don't have to. You know, you can either be right or you can be in a loving, growing relationship.
Right.
Because some things are just not, I mean, arguing about how you do who's the best way to clean the dishes is not worth getting an argument over. I mean, come on. Come on. I always tell him if he's complaining about something, honey, there are people that don't even have a house over their head. Because
Right.
when you're a homeowner, stuff comes up. Am I right, Pia?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What is this broken? What about this? And I grew up with housekeepers and cleaners, so I'm not this like, let's get the dust bunnies from the corner type person. I'm not. Whereas my husband, his parents are in their 70s and 80s, and they still clean their house themselves.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, hell no, that's not going to happen. He doesn't know it. We will be getting someone to clean the house eventually. But until then, he just does most of the cleaning. I do help. I do the laundry.
Oh,
I do all the internal loving stuff. I do some cooking. But, and then, just remember everyone, I'm going to start wrapping it up for your group, because this is probably a really long call for everyone. I just want to say that, remember to forgive yourself, love yourself, surround yourself with people who have good relationships and learn from those. You don't have to be from, your parents don't have to be married to have a successful marriage. And you don't need to be raised by the best parents in the world. And of course, that doesn't really exist because parents are human beings. We're all human beings. We're not supposed to be perfect. Otherwise, we would be born perfect. Actually, they say we're born perfect, but then why would we grow?
Right.
At least that's my opinion. I think we're born to learn and make mistakes and fall down and have broken hearts so that we can do things like be on a platform like Pia's, Empowered Women, and share our vulnerabilities and our mistakes so other people can learn and grow. And, I can have that too. And maybe in the future you'll look back and say, oh my gosh, I remember that from this thing that I heard, that I read, that I saw, what have you. And you'll be able to share your story with someone who's maybe going through what you've been through. And don't be afraid to take risks in love and life. And one last thing that I have to read from if I had this book before I got married, unfortunately, I did not meet her until recently, and she just published this book, I think, in 2016. I got one of the first copies, and mine is signed because I know her. Her name is Jessica Vaughn, and this is from her book. And her name is Jessica Vaughn, and it's called A Worthy Wife. And like I said, I wished I had this book before I met my husband, but I think she was in college or high school. So, but she said, the quote is from here, and it says, "It's never too late to begin a new chapter in your life or your marriage." And that's a quote from Jessica Vaughn, and she has so many powerful quotes, and she is a beautifully, just loves Jesus, loves God. So if you are a big fan of faith or you're not, you still need this book.
I love that you're saying, Ellie, because what you started out by saying that there's no school or class about how to deal with a relationship. And then all of a sudden we're thrown into a relationship and then be confused or upset or whatever when it doesn't work out. Well, there is no class. So where do you learn? So I like that you're giving some reference materials that one of the way that you can learn is from a book, or like you said, surround yourself around people that embody what you want to, what you want to have. And that's important because classroom instruction or learning does not have to be in the classroom.
Never.
So absolutely. All right. So if people, and I know you said that you had a gift. So
Yes. So like I said, things are not always perfect in marriages. It's not always roses and sunshine. I have an incredible husband, and I'm so blessed and so grateful, and I appreciate him, but I'm not perfect, and neither is he, but that's okay. We're perfect together, and we work it out together. We're flawsomely in love, I guess you could say. But I have something free that I wanted to give to all of you. I created it a while back. The video quality is not the best, but the message is very powerful, and it's actually 2 tips to help you diffuse an explosive argument. And it's basically with someone you love, a family member, a significant other, a daughter or a son or a husband, wife, whatever. sometimes what happens is we are in that heat of that moment, and you have two choices. You're in this argument, and you have a choice. You can try to win the argument, or you can work to de-escalate it. And that can be so, I can tell you this, it may not work the first time, but if you keep trying at it, eventually that person that you're trying to de-escalate this, repetitive, just loud, explosive pattern, they will value you so much more just by you taking the high road, taking a breath, and being able to control yourself. So it's just a free video that walks you through 2 steps on how to do this, and a PDF. And also the next day I have another email that goes out that's just an audio if you just want to listen to the audio. And it's going to be located right there. Thank you for posting that. Pia, that's awesome. It's my free video, the tiny.cc// right there, my free video. Just click that and opt in. Check your junk box just in case, or your promo box on Gmail. And I'll send you that video just for you guys. It's not anywhere else on my ellieparvin.com website. So this is just for your audience.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And another way, which you just mentioned, was her website, so ellieparvin.com if you want to have some more information. What's on your website, Ellie?
My website is just a plain old static website, ellieparvin.com. As I say, I'm a communications expert. I am obsessed with communications, and I have a blog post where I share all kinds of communication tips for work, personal life, public speaking tips, and soon I'll be launching Speak Live Online, which is going to be my little online course to help people do live videos.
Sweet. And when's that coming out?
That should be coming out. I'm launching in August, so it's coming soon. I'm launching in August, and it's more or less, there's a lot of programs about doing live video, but mine is specifically geared towards public speaking, because a lot of people, they learn how to do all the setup, get all the right tools, and then what happens is they're so nervous, or they don't know how to deal with their vocals and how to prepare their content to be short and sweet when you're just starting. And I basically deconstruct the public speaking process so that you will be able to do it so much more easily when you do it online. And I've had a beta test group, and they did so great, and they improved in just a short amount of time, of like 3 weeks from beginning to end. So I know it works.
Excellent. All right. Well, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Ellie, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, you had some great tips, and I know when we first started talking, you're saying it may not be what people think, but it really is what people think if you just open your mind to hearing the message, and not just with your ears, but with your heart. You will see that if you are single, for those of you that are like in their 40s, have never been married, and you're just like frustrated, understand that what Ellie has talked to you about, your situation may not be her situation. I mean, you may say, I want to get married, when her situation was she wanted to be single, but underlying the story is the same. And that's what I want, like, for instance, with all this Empowering Women series, understand that all of our stories are connected. We're all the same. We're all droplets of the same water. And that's what we get across with our story. That's what I'm saying. It's healing for you, for sharing. It's healing for us, for hearing, if you're open to it. So I really want to thank you so much, Ellie, for coming on and sharing the story. And do you have one last thing that you want to say before we log off?
Yeah, just, please, again, don't forget that again, the quote that I love, it's never too late. It doesn't matter if you're older or younger. It's never too late for you to make a change in your life, your love life, your marriage, and just really wise words from Jessica Vaughn. And don't give up. It's out there. There are wonderful men out there, and you will find them. And just allow yourself to love yourself first, forgive yourself first, and the world will be your oyster.
I love that. Thank you so much for that, because again, you can go on and on with this one, but the forgiving was the missing piece for me. It really was in my relationship, because when you were telling your story, of course, I'm thinking about what was going on in my life or in my past, and it was all, obviously through growth. A lot of that was because I didn't forgive myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really forgive yourself about what you went through, or your reaction or lack of reaction to what you're going through. So the forgiveness is key. And by the way, just real quick, I watched the movie. We talk about analyzing the movie. I watched the movie this weekend. It was called The Five People That You Meet.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to get lessons. I actually took notes on it. I'm going to blog about it, but just because you mentioned this, 2 of the 5 lessons was about forgiveness.
Yeah.
2 of the 5 was about forgiveness. So it's very, very powerful, forgiving others and forgiving yourself. Very, very powerful. All right. Well, thank you guys for having me on again. Ellie shared some really great information, and I want to again thank her for coming on. Thank you guys for listening. Share this information with people. Again, the purpose of this is to get the dialogue going so that, again, we can open up the healing process. Okay, it's understanding the stories the things that you're going through. These are stories that you can actually help other people. So don't feel ashamed or embarrassed about what you've gone through or what you're going to go through or what you've been through. There's a lesson in there. But if you want to grow from that lesson, it's very important, that Ellie mentioned as well, that you have to go introspective as well as, doing the things that's going to help you rebuild. It's about going introspective. One thing that we didn't mention, and I don't want to log off before I talk about this, is we talked about Ellie going introspective, but we weren't specific on how you do that. And for me, it's via meditation. Okay, so I do meditation. And meditating, there's different types of meditating, but that's what we mean by going introspective. It's really just being quiet and just listening to what's coming into you from the other. I call God. Other people call the universe. As a matter of fact, I say universe, God, and I use them interchangeably, but depending on who I'm talking to, I call it the higher power. Okay, being open to hearing what's being sent to you, because again, we mentioned about babies being born perfect, and what they mean by that is not perfection in physical, spiritual perfection. But then, because we come here on this earth for an experience, as we grow through our life, and depending on who we're born through, right? The parents that we're born through, they're going to give us other, let's say stimulation, so that we forget our imperfection, our perfection. And because that's the purpose of it, right? We want to have a physical life. We're spiritually perfect, but we're physically imperfect. So our parents, or lack thereof, whoever's molding us, are molding us. And then it's our life or our job through life to find out, to go back to our perfection. And that's really the reason why we're here on earth, is to find our perfection, our purpose. So again, hopefully this has helped you. Again, thank you so much, Ellie, for sharing. And with that, we're going to log off. I will see you guys. My next Empowering Women won't be until next week. I have someone coming in on Monday. So stay tuned in. I have Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday of next week that I have some stories that is going to be exciting and open and sharing for you to learn and grow from. So again, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.